Manhattan mornings always begin with a quiet light. Through the windows of our luxury condominium along Park Avenue, the sunlight shimmers golden, like a Turner painting. In the corner of my studio, where my art supplies are arranged, my son Oliver is painting again this morning. "Mom, look. I painted a blue elephant today." Oliver holds up his painting with a beaming smile. The bold blue that dominates the canvas seems almost too daring to be an elephant, yet it shows remarkable expressiveness for a 6-year-old. I gently stroke his soft black hair and smile, saying, "What lovely use of color." I'm Melissa Brown, a 32-year-old illustrator from Austin, Texas. Raised in a middle-class family, I excelled at art school and have held several solo exhibitions. While others describe me as having a gentle personality, when it comes to my son's talent, I possess an unwavering determination that I won't compromise for anyone. "Good morning, Melissa." James appears, dressed in his usual Brooks Brothers suit. As a director at a real estate development company, he's busy constructing one high-rise after another in prime Manhattan locations. He's completely devoted to his work, leaving household matters entirely to his mother, Patricia. "You'll be stopping by Mother's gallery today, won't you?" At James's words, I let out a small sigh. Patricia Brown is one of New York's most influential museum owners. My history with her goes back 4 years. Back then, I was participating in a young artist support exhibition at Patricia's museum. That's where I met her only son, James. At first, I felt uncertain about him as he stood intently studying my paintings at the exhibition. However, I gradually found myself drawn to his genuine admiration for art. Initially, Patricia highly valued my artistic talent and supported our marriage. I still remember her saying with an elegant smile, "Melissa will understand the Brown family's artistic tradition." 6 months later, we were married. Thanks to Patricia's arrangements, the ceremony was held at a historic church near the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Wearing a Chanel wedding dress, I seemed to be warmly welcomed into New York's high society. However, after Oliver was born and his remarkable talent became apparent, Patricia's attitude gradually began to change. While maintaining the image of a refined lady devoted to charitable activities in public, her perfectionism and desire for control became increasingly evident, especially regarding her grandson's education. He should be learning classical techniques properly. This free expression for children is nothing but negligence. Every weekend, we invariably spend time at Patricia's museum. Each time, she lectures me, indirectly but persistently, about the right way to guide Oliver's talent. James believes everything his mother says is absolute. Though he acknowledges my talent, he always shows indecision when caught between his mother and me. He keeps saying, "Mother only wants what's best for you," but each time I hear those words repeated, the anxiety in my heart grows larger. On the surface, we appear to be a wealthy, harmonious family. From our luxury apartment along Park Avenue, I work from home as an illustrator while dedicating myself to nurturing Oliver's talent. On holidays, we enjoy picnics in Central Park, shop at Whole Foods, and sometimes treat ourselves to family dinners at Le Bernardin. But beneath this seemingly perfect life, I could sense something slowly becoming distorted. Lately, in particular, Patricia's reactions to Oliver's paintings have become even more severe than before. Something cold has taken residence in her eyes. Still, I want to let Oliver's talent develop freely. I believe true art resides in pure expression unfettered by conventional concepts, just like his blue elephant. The Manhattan morning sun continues to gently illuminate Oliver's painting on the easel. Around the time Oliver turned 5, our lives began to change gradually. It started with a single painting he created. Using a new set of paints he received for his birthday, Oliver painted a scene of Central Park. The trees bathed in spring sunlight, people resting on benches, doves soaring through the sky. It captured a moment of light and shadow that even adults would find challenging to express. "Oh, how wonderful!" Upon seeing the painting, Patricia's eyes lit up, momentarily forgetting her usually cold demeanor. However, from that moment on, her interference gradually intensified. "Oliver, try copying this painting now." One day, Patricia brought a print of a classical landscape. Oliver, though hesitant, tried to paint as his grandmother instructed. But his free expression gradually diminished, replaced only by formal techniques. Free expression is important, but fundamentals come first. "Melissa, your teaching methods will ruin Oliver's talent." Patricia's words always began with criticism. "My educational approach was negligent and irresponsible," she'd say. But Oliver was different. He showed his most vibrant expressions when painting according to his own sensibilities. During this time, Oliver's work won the grand prize at a local art exhibition, making him the youngest recipient ever. The New York Times featured him as a young prodigy, praising his talent. The reporter who came to interview us was captivated by Oliver's creative process. "What free expression! It's like a dreamlike world, reminiscent of Chagall." The day after the article was published, we received an unexpected phone call. It was from MoMA's Children's Art Division. They wanted to hold a solo exhibition for Oliver. "But it's too soon. He should exhibit at our museum." Patricia strongly opposed it. But I had made up my mind. I wanted to show Oliver's talent to a broader world. "I'm sorry, but I want to respect Oliver's wishes." From the day I decided to accept the MoMA exhibition, Patricia's attitude changed completely. She began visiting our home almost daily to monitor Oliver's work. Her eyes, peering from beneath her Hermes scarf, were as sharp as a hawk's. "Failing to study the classics makes you unworthy as a Brown family heir. You're the one destroying this child's talent." James would only nod silently at his mother's words. "Mother is thinking of what's best for you. It's for Oliver's future." My husband's words were always the same. But my heart ached every time I saw Oliver nearly crushed under the pressure. I felt the colors slowly fading from his paintings. "Mom, I'm starting to feel scared of painting." One night, Oliver confided this to me softly. At that moment, something changed decisively within me. I couldn't compromise with anyone when it came to protecting my son's talent, even if it meant confronting my husband. "It's okay, Oliver. Mom will definitely protect you." The setting sun streaming through the studio window tinted Oliver's tears golden. In that light, he gave a small nod. At that moment, I didn't know that this resolution would lead our family toward an unimaginable fate. The following weekend, Patricia suddenly convened a museum board meeting. Under the magnificent chandelier, as New York's high society elite gathered, she stood up gracefully. "I am planning a special exhibition for my grandson, Oliver Brown." Dressed in a Chanel tweed suit, she smiled as if assured of victory. "Melissa, don't you agree? This museum is the best place to nurture Oliver's talent." The board members' gazes turned to me all at once. I could feel clear pressure in their looks. Patricia continued without waiting for my response. "Everything is already arranged. Starting next month, We'll hold master classes every Saturday, and we've invited specialists from Italy to teach classical techniques. I decline. Silence dominated the room. Patricia's expression seemed to freeze for a moment. I want to nurture Oliver's talent in a freer environment. Through his solo exhibition at MoMA, his own expression. Melissa. My husband's voice echoed through the venue. James stood beside his mother, looking at me accusingly. You don't understand mother's kindness or the Brown family tradition. From that day on, the atmosphere at home changed completely. Patricia's visits became even more frequent, sometimes staying from early morning until late at night. And she always forced Oliver to practice classical techniques. You know, Da Vinci had already started anatomical sketches by age 6. Surely you can put in that much effort. Her hand on Oliver's shoulder appeared gentle but somehow intimidating. I noticed my son's expression growing darker day by day. The once vibrant colors in his paintings gradually became dull. Free lines became rigid, and original compositions turned formulaic. It was as if Oliver's heart was slowly turning gray. At night, I began secretly visiting my son's room to paint freely together. It was our small act of rebellion. Mom, I really want to paint different kinds of pictures. I want to paint a world where animals fly in the sky, trees are rainbow-colored, and the sun is smiling. Oliver's whispers strengthened my resolve even further. I won't let anyone restrict this child's talent, even if it means damaging family relationships. Let's take a family trip to Hawaii. Patricia's suggestion came suddenly. During a family dinner at Le Bernardin, an upscale French restaurant in Manhattan, she elegantly tilted her wine glass as she brought it up. Actually, I'm planning a special exhibition at my museum's Hawaii branch. Wouldn't it be wonderful to showcase Oliver's talent in this Pacific paradise? Her Hermes scarf fluttered at the collar of her Chanel tweed jacket. The eyes beneath seemed somehow different from usual. I've already arranged everything, the airline tickets and hotel. First-class travel, so Oliver will be comfortable. I instinctively felt something was off. For the past few weeks, Patricia had strongly opposed Oliver's MoMA exhibition, visiting our home almost daily to force classical technique training. For her to suddenly suggest a Hawaii trip. But I couldn't find a reason to refuse. James said he had already taken time off work, and Oliver's eyes sparkled as he said, I want to paint the Hawaiian Ocean. Yes, let's go since you've arranged it. When I spoke those words, a small warning bell rang in the depths of my heart. On our third day in Hawaii, we visited Kilauea volcano. A rumbling like Earth's heartbeat echoed from the Halemaumeu crater. Tourists gathered at the viewing deck, taking photos and videos of the magnificent natural spectacle with their smartphones and cameras. Oliver had opened his small sketchbook and was intently sketching the smoke rising from the crater. His profile looked so alive, as if freed from the pressure he'd felt in Manhattan. Oliver, come here. The view from that observation point is even more spectacular. Patricia suddenly called out. Her voice was higher than usual, and there was something desperate about her manner. I instinctively tensed. As we approached the edge of the viewing deck, Patricia's behavior became increasingly agitated. Her Hermes shawl fluttered in the wind, and her usually perfectly styled hair began to dishevel. This child keeps betraying our expectations. At the sudden shout, surrounding tourists turned to look. In Patricia's eyes dwelt a madness I had never seen before. Not studying classics, ignoring family traditions, and painting such childish pictures. You're a disgrace to the Brown family. It happened in an instant. Patricia grabbed Oliver's arm and tried to push him toward where the lava was visible. I reflexively jumped in and embraced my son. What are you doing? Be quiet. You're the one ruining this child's talent. Patricia's expensive shawl caught on Oliver's paint set. She lost her balance and stumbled backward. Mother is right. Oliver's talent needs to be guided in the proper direction. My husband's words echoed on the cold wind. I held my son tightly, my eyes wide. Then, an unexpected turn of events occurred. With the momentum from trying to push Oliver, Patricia's body tilted sharply. Her Hermes shawl billowed in the wind, and her body floated over the viewing deck's railing. Screams rang out. Patricia's body hung suspended, caught on a railing protrusion. Below her feet, a hellish deep valley gaped open. Tourists pointed their phones, screamed, and some ran to call for help. James suddenly came to his senses and ran toward his mother, calling her name. I stood frozen, holding Oliver tightly, watching the scene unfold. The warm Hawaiian wind slowly circled around us, as if time had stopped. Patricia hung suspended, staring at us with a terror-twisted expression. In her eyes floated an emotion I had never seen before. Was it hatred, regret, or something else? At that moment, I realized. Before coming to the viewing deck, Patricia's behavior had already been different from usual. At the breakfast table, she hadn't eaten a bite, just clutching her coffee cup. And when leaving the hotel, she had taken an old album she never usually brings out. Let's take a photo, she had said, asking the room maid. Now I understood her expression then. She had been trying to leave one last family photo. The metal of the viewing deck was hot from Hawaii's strong sunlight. The red glow of lava cast our shadows in an eerie dance. Hot wind from the crater violently shook Patricia's shawl. Help me. Melissa. Suddenly, her voice rang out. It was weak, unlike anything I'd heard from her before. The edges of her Hermes shawl had already started to singe. James tried to lean over the railing but was stopped by security guards. Oliver trembled in my arms, watching his grandmother. My paintings. I should have painted the way Grandma wanted. At those words, I held my son's shoulders tightly. No, Oliver. Your paintings are your heart itself. Don't let anyone deny that. The sound of sirens could be heard in the distance. The volcano's rumbling grew louder, and black smoke began to cover the sky. Tourists had already started evacuating. Patricia's fingers began slipping from the railing, one by one. Her perfectly manicured nails lost their shine as they slid. Patricia trembled slightly as she hung there. Her Hermes shawl was already in tatters, and her expensive Chanel suit had turned gray from the volcanic smoke. Around us, dozens of smartphones recorded this shocking scene. Tourists rushing to post on social media, people calling 911, and others standing dumbfounded. All would remember this moment forever. Mom, is Grandma? At Oliver's small voice, I hugged him tightly. He still clutched his sketchbook, where half a volcano landscape remained drawn. The rescue team arrived 10 minutes later. They immediately began preparing rescue harnesses. Black smoke had already started swirling around Patricia. Ma'am, just a little longer. Please hold on. As the rescuer's voice rang out, Patricia looked at us. In her eyes floated an emotion I had never seen before. It wasn't fear or hatred, but the color of deep regret. "Melissa. Oliver. I." The rest of her words were swallowed by the volcano's roar. The rescue operation took nearly 30 minutes. During that time, we told everything to the police. The moment she tried to push Oliver, my husband's words of agreement, and the unexpected turn of events. That night, the news spread worldwide. Prominent museum owner left hanging after attempting to push grandson. New York society queen's shocking behavior in Hawaii. Family conflict over artistic talent leads to tragedy. Countless videos were posted on social media and spread instantly. The museum board members held an emergency meeting and issued a statement calling for her resignation. Her influence in high society crumbled overnight. A heavy silence awaited us when we returned to the hotel. James stood by the window, gazing at the nighttime Honolulu streets. "You were right," he suddenly turned and said. Tears glistened in his eyes. "Trying to mold Oliver's talent according to mother's wishes. I've been a terrible father." At those words, I felt years of pressure suddenly release. Oliver silently ran to his father and jumped into his arms. "Dad, can I paint freely?" James nodded firmly. His profile showed a gentleness I had never seen before. A month later, we moved to a new apartment in Manhattan. We completely cut ties with Patricia, who began receiving counseling from a psychiatrist. Oliver's solo exhibition at MoMA was a great success. His blue elephants, rainbow-colored trees, and smiling suns healed many people's hearts. The exhibition hall displayed an article headlined, "The Free Spirit of a Young Artist." A new family form gradually came into view. We enjoy sketching in the park on weekends and sometimes go gallery hopping together. James now accompanies Oliver to his art classes between work commitments. A year has passed since then. Morning sunlight streams into our studio facing Central Park. Oliver is now 7 and enjoys even freer expression. "Mom, look. Today I painted a world where purple rain falls." When I turned around at my son's voice, there was an imaginative landscape spread before me. Purple raindrops were falling on a rainbow-colored city, with a red moon floating in the sky. Next to him, James smiled gently. Patricia's letter arrived that morning. "I've seen Oliver's paintings. I was wrong. Art isn't something to be confined to a mold, but something to be set free." I held the letter to my chest while gazing out the window. The Manhattan skyline was wrapped in morning mist. Somewhere, bells were ringing, announcing the start of a new day. "Well then, let's paint some wonderful pictures today." At my words, Oliver nodded with a beaming smile. At that moment, the light streaming into the studio seemed to gently embrace our family, as if bestowing a blessing. The MoMA curator's eyes sparkled when he saw Oliver's new work. "This is remarkable progress. I can see genuine technical advancement within the free expression." The exhibition room walls displayed Oliver's works chronologically. The change was clear to everyone's eyes, from the rigid paintings before the Hawaii incident to the current free expression. Talent can't be nurtured through force, can it? I quietly nodded at the curator's words. When I turned around, Oliver was running his brush across a new canvas. His expression was bright, without a trace of the anxiety that once shadowed it. James had changed too. He revised his work style and now works from his home office 3 days a week. Oliver's latest works are always displayed on his desk. Family time really is the most precious thing. He often says this while looking at Oliver's sketches. There was now a father with his own will, no longer showing his mother's influence. Patricia continues treatment with her psychiatrist. Her letters arrive once a month. Initially filled with apologies and regret, they gradually took on a more peaceful tone. Art truly has the power to free people's hearts. That's what was written in her recent letter. Those words carried the resonance of a soul released from years of obsession. We're now building our own life in our new Upper West Side environment. We buy fresh bagels from the bakery in the morning and enjoy picnics in Central Park on weekends. Oliver's new art class friends genuinely enjoy his creative expression. There's always something new to discover when painting with Oliver, his female classmate says with sparkling eyes. We've also started workshops at the museum. Teaching children the joy of free expression has become a new source of happiness for us. Melissa, let's record this exhibition on video. James raises his smartphone. Unlike when that video from the volcano went viral around the world, now it's to record moments of happiness. Spring sunlight fills the exhibition room, gently illuminating Oliver's paintings. The works hanging on the walls depicted the dreams of a boy who had gained the wings of imagination. Red moon, purple rain, blue elephant. They were all testament to a liberated soul. Hey, Mom. Oliver calls to me. Next, I want to paint a family portrait. With Dad, and Mom, and me, everyone smiling. At those words, tears welled up in my eyes. Yes, this was the form we had been seeking. A new family shape, bound by genuine affection without being confined to any mold. Outside the window, Manhattan streets are filled with their usual vitality. But in our hearts, the world had definitely changed. Toward a freer, warmer, more beautiful world.